guys, my name is Rachel and welcome to the third episode of Draw and Yap. Before we get into this yap session, I want to thank everyone for all of the support on my RPG animation meme that I made for the first anniversary of my original visual novel Stellar version 1.0. I did not expect that to gain as much traction as it did, so thank you all so much. We've now also almost hit 400 subscribers, which is just so exciting. I think when I get to like 1,000 or something, I'll do another special video of some kind. I don't know what, but like something, you know? I'll cook up something, I'll be cooking. I appreciate all of the support and just putting it out there. If you're curious about my visual novel, you can play it on Steam or itch.io at the links in the description below. Okay, speaking of visual novels, today I want to yap about my deep love and appreciation for Dan Salvato's Doki Doki Literature Club, a game that I honestly never thought I'd enjoy as much as I do. This is due to the fact that I'm actually pretty skittish when it comes to horror, and while DDLC may look like a cute anime-esque visual novel, it has a terrifying depth to it that makes it so incredibly intriguing and nightmare-inducing at the same time. Doki Doki Literature Club was at the height of its popularity when I was in middle school. I quickly discovered the game thanks to my favorite YouTubers all suddenly playing it, along with one of my friends at the time raving about it. I was just as shocked as everyone else when the first warning screen came up when you booted up the game. This adorable looking visual novel isn't suited for children or those who are easily disturbed? What? How? I probably should have clicked off of Markiplier's video as soon as that warning showed up, but I found myself continuing to watch in utter curiosity. Perhaps not the greatest game for a middle schooler to watch, but I promise you, doing this had a positive impact on my life. Not to promote kids watching horror games though. Be safe out there. They're very scary and quite messed up sometimes. As I watched multiple playthroughs of Doki Doki Literature Club, I was disturbed, yes, but I also realized that the story was beautifully illustrated and communicated, with each character having a lot of depth. Monika definitely is the most developed character out of all the girls, but I came to love Natsuki the most out of the main cast. I'm about to get into some spoilers, so please, if you haven't played Doki Doki Literature Club for yourself yet, pause the video, go play it, and then come back. It's free, so what's stopping you? And I'm not going anywhere, so go do that if you haven't already. Alright, here comes the spoilers. Natsuki was immediately interesting to me because of her brash tsundere-like persona and her very pink color palette. I'm a sucker for pink characters, if that's not kind of obvious already. I knew full well that the four girls in the literature club were meant to represent a stereotype in anime or dating sims, but as the story continued, it was revealed that there were reasons why each character acted the way they did. Sayori's depression that she wanted to hide from the player resulted in her extremely upbeat and positive attitude. Monika, much like Sayori, played up her smart, sort of bland popular girl personality to disguise her deep misery behind the screen as she realized that she was really just a video game character. Yuri's calm and embarrassed demeanor was because of her general lack of friends at school and being shunned for her interests, which was heartbreaking. Natsuki's brashness was the result of pushing people away in fear they would hurt her or demean her, mirroring her turbulent home life. I mean, this stuff is deep, y'all. I never would have expected this game to discuss all of this just by looking at the style and genre of the game. In my opinion, that's exactly what makes it so dang good. Natsuki was really interesting to me in the terrifying second act of DDLC in particular, and that would be because she was the first character to actually realize that something terrible was going on. She even tries to slip a cry for help to the player in the form of a poem before glitching out due to Monika's intervention. I was incredibly shocked when this happened because the whole time, Monika is trying desperately to prove that none of the characters are quote-unquote real like she believes she is. I beg to differ, Monika. Alright, we are spoiler-free from now on. Anyways, now that I've talked about Natsuki and the girls, we can get into my fan account. I used to run a pretty popular DDLC fan account on Instagram called Ohio Natsuki, with the name inspired by the song Ohio Sayori from the game's original soundtrack. This was my first real experience with fandom culture, and honestly, I had a wonderful time when I was in the DDLC fandom. I even took on the challenge of working on a DDLC mod called Love and Literature, a Natsuki-focused mod that was written by another creator. I decided at that moment that I was going to learn how to mod DDLC and make a visual novel, even though I had zero experience. Seriously, I have no idea what I was on back then, but I'm glad my overconfidence got the better of me because without me taking that leap, I wouldn't be where I am today. Making this visual novel mod of DDLC was an eye-opening experience for little Rachel. Every day after school, I'd come to my dad's office and sit in his conference room coding on my old MacBook using RenPy, an incredible visual novel engine that I still use to this day. I tried to learn the basics of Python, and I attempted to implement new images, dialogue, and characters into the world of Doki Doki Literature Club. I found the experience satisfying and really fun, and my online friends also enjoyed my work. That's the moment when I realized, hey, I could be a game designer. I always knew that I liked two things, art and writing. Because of that, the first logical option would be to become a comic book artist. You write the story and you draw the characters. Easy. Easier said than done for me though. When I tried to go down that path, I got really burnt out. Creating all the dialogue and then trying to draw out every scene was really tiring, and I found myself feeling increasingly frustrated. I felt this way not only because I was getting tired of what I was doing, but also because I felt like a bit of a failure. If being a comic book artist isn't working out, what else is there for me to do with my passions? This was a very narrow-minded take, of course. I feel like part of the problem was that I was putting a lot of pressure on myself and I didn't like how my art was turning out, which resulted in obvious exasperation. Pro tip in general, be kind to yourself. Anyways, discovering game design was huge for me. I really like how dynamic game design is and how it covers multiple art forms simultaneously. Making a game includes art, coding, writing, design, and sound, which is a lot of really interesting stuff that keeps the creation process fresh. Of course, you can divide these things up in a group of game devs and creatives, but when I was creating Stellar Version 1.0, my own visual novel, I decided to do everything myself. Perhaps this was a bit insane of me, but I really enjoyed trying out all 5 of these art forms for myself. Yes, I think coding could also be considered an art form in a way. On top of all of this, the act of play is just so epic and immersive. The fact that the player can control a narrative and experience a new world in such an engaging way is just an extra bonus to creating games. You feel like you're there when you're playing games, and that's what I think is so amazing about them, because you are actually like acting. You're actually moving your fingers and using your mind, and really it just really enhances the immersive aspects of games, and I just love that so much. I feel like games are also an extremely underrated storytelling device. Visual novels kind of remind me of a digital version of those choose-your-own-adventure stories, which is a type of book that I really enjoyed as a kid. Visual novels allow players to play through a linear narrative or a branching narrative while physically interacting with the story, whether that be choosing dialogue options or exploring a room point-and-click style. As I was creating Stellar Version 1.0, I realized that I really loved the arguably quote-unquote simple visual novel format and decided I would dedicate myself to exploring this genre of video games. Shout out to Dan Salvato for single-handedly starting my game developer journey. If he didn't make a game that broke boundaries and challenged the genre of visual novels that captivated gamers everywhere, I wouldn't be in college studying game design like I am today. Thank you guys so much for watching yet another Draw and Yap episode. If you enjoyed my yapping, my art, or both, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again. And also, if you want to play Stellar Version 1.0, the links are in the description, like I said at the beginning. Love you all. Goodbye!